Hello, Luncarty. It's Joe Lamb here. Joseph Lamb, Mr. Joseph Lamb to you. What can I say? I've just received a package, an email package of letters and haikus and questions and just loads and loads of stuff from you girls and boys, or dudes or guys or whatever you call yourselves these days. I was overwhelmed, quite honestly. It was really cool. So what I'm going to do, because it's just kind of struck me that this is going to be the last time I'll be talking to you, because the whole book pen pals thing ends now. And you're not going back to Luncarty after this, so that's kind of weird. So, I have received a load of haikus, as I said, and a few letters, a lot of questions, so I'm going to go over everything. I'm going to read out all of the haikus, and because most of you sent them in and you didn't put who they were by for most of them, so I don't know who wrote which haiku. I can guess at a couple, but I couldn't swear to it, so I don't want to say for sure, okay? Now I'm going to be looking like this a few times because I've actually got another screen behind this. It's weird, the setup, but just now what I've got is I've got my mobile phone recording this, which is leaning on top of a laptop, and I've got a big desktop monitor behind that, so I can basically look here and talk to you guys, and everything's fine, everything's wonderful. But when I've got to read, I'm going to have to go like that and read the haikus, so I'm going to be looking like I'm not looking at you at all, instead of like that where I am. If you're wondering, maybe you're not wondering, but you might be wondering why my eyes are all a bit red. It's because I'm being really, really badly affected with hay fever, which I didn't get until I was in my 50s, so it's awful. It's really awful. And we've been going for 2.5 minutes and I haven't really done anything yet. So let's get into this, shall we? First haiku. Video games are my great escape in lockdown. They make me happy. Lockdown is quite bad. Shops have been stripped bare of food. Toilet paper too. I like that one. I like all of them. I am bored and sad. I wish lockdown would end. I miss my friends. That's quite sad, that one. Yeah. Now there's two on this one. Two little lockdown haiku. The first one. We go on nice walks. My brother likes feeding ducks. The ducks enjoy bread. And the other one is, lockdown can be hard, but the weather is really nice and the sun is bright. 2 for the price of 1 on that one. That was quite cool. And the next one. Lockdown is quiet. Everyone is indoors, waiting for a cure. I do like that one. I do like them all. I don't know why I keep going to say it. I do like that one, because I do like them all. I miss family and all of my friends as well. Hope to see them soon. I shall go outside. The birds give me a headache. I shall go inside. That one's funny. This one's called Lockdown. 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 Bored out of my mind. Spending time with family. Missing all my friends. To the point. Very to the point. I don't know quite what your family would think saying that you were bored out of your mind, but that's okay. Maybe you didn't mean it like that. Maybe you did. I love the seaside. Smooth sand and salty water. Fish swimming swiftly. And then, that's a haiku and a tongue twister. I do like that one. My haiku. Summer. Summer is okay. It's beginning. But suddenly it's been raining. Hot is funner. Cold is not. Now, to be honest, I don't know if that rigidly sits in with a haiku of 5, 7 and 5 syllables, but you know what? I don't care, because it's good and I liked it. From poor beginnings to top flight Europe matches, Pele was his name. We know who the football fan is, don't we? Learning how to bake. Granny learning to FaceTime. time with family. This one's very to the point. Lockdown is rubbish. I am stuck here feeling bored. There's nothing to do. Oh, you did haiku. There is that. You did do a haiku. Now this one was pretty cool because they actually wrote out the syllables and put numbers below them. So just to make sure, I'm sure they'll do that just to make sure they got it right. But sun is shining bright and children are out playing. People isolating. Clever. The wind blows softly when barbecues are cooking. Burning smells everywhere. I'm not a big fan of barbecues. I'd rather eat food that's cooked. The sun shines brightly. The flowers dance in the wind. Sunset fills the sky. That's a very classic haiku, that one. I am trapped at home. I don't want to be in here. When can I go out? Good. So there we go. A nice little bundle of haiku there. All very, very worthy. And like I said, yes, there was maybe one or two of them that the 575 syllable thing doesn't quite span or scan. But that's fine. Absolutely fine. The best thing, as I always say, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say before, if you're writing anything, the hardest part is just to sit down and write it. And the fact that you've done that is way cool. So thank you all very much for your haiku. Now, as I said, there are letters, and in the letters there were quite a few questions, quite a few people just saying hi and thanks and said that you're still reading, which is really, really groovy. On some of the letters, I was very pleased to see that some of you were writing me letters on my birthday. My birthday was the 12th of June. I was 57, but don't tell anybody. So yeah, it's really cool that I got letters from some of you guys that were actually written out on my birthday. So I took them as being presents. I hope you don't mind. So I've written a letter basically to all of you who did send me letters or questions or whatever. So again, I'm going to be spending most of my time looking like that because I've got them on the other screen. And as much as I try, I couldn't have them on the same screen as this because I couldn't look here, and when I look there, I go all out of focus, and it's really weird. See, wearing glasses, this is another thing that came to me late in life. It's really strange. I kind of envy you who have glasses for all the time, but yeah, I miss having good eyesight. So, I don't know who it was, but they did a massive tiger for Father's Day, which was great. It was just one of the things they'd been doing during lockdown, and I really liked that, but I don't know who it was. Just know it was great. Cameron M, you are still reading, which is excellent. I'm very pleased with that. Now, Hannah asked me a ton of questions, which included, have I been writing during lockdown, and if so, what? It just so happens that the haikus for the Stay at Home ebook, which you probably all know of, were written during lockdown, but that's probably a bit obvious. What I've mainly been doing is editing my next book, which will again be published through my wonderful publishers, Cranachan. It should be early next year. It will be called The Black Pennant. Now, Hannah must have known what I was writing because she went on to ask if I was writing what was it about. So I could go on for ages about this. So in a very, very tiny nutshell, it's the story of a boy called Jack. He's an orphan beggar boy. He's not an orphan at the start of the book, but that's part of the story. And he's taken under the wing of a man called Uncle John Fullerton. Now, John Fullerton really was a man. He really was a trader. He was well loved, very rich. This was in 1796. And Jack is basically taken under his wing, as I said, and he's taught the ways of the sea. But then the ship that they're in is sunk in a storm, and eventually the Uncle John Fullerton, turns to piracy. It takes a little while, and it goes through the book explaining why these things happen, but he eventually turns to piracy. And the story of that really is, can Jack do anything to stop this move towards piracy? And if he can't, can he prevent it? Can he reverse it from happening? It is all based on a true story. but it's one that's unbelievably difficult to research because I found out by it purely by accident when I was researching The God of All Small Boys, believe it or not. But I can find one or two, I think, mentions of this man at all. Very, very difficult to research, but being a writer, artistic license, so I've taken the bones of the story and I've wrapped it around that. I'm quite pleased with it. And I think my publisher must be as well, otherwise they wouldn't publish it. They don't publish rubbish, which is strange for me to say that. Yeah. Anyway, Hannah also asks, because Hannah's just a tiny bit nosy. No, she's not. She's inquisitive. What is my favourite type of book? Well, it is a mixture. I'll basically read anything. And I know that doesn't really answer your question much, but it is true. I will read almost anything. Now, finally, Hannah asked why I deleted some material from The God of All Small Boys. Again, I sent my book pen pals the missing chapter from The God of All Small Boys, which wasn't really a chapter, it was just a large part of one chapter and other little bits of other chapters which I took out and put them all together. But it was basically a side story about someone who isn't a main character, unfortunately, Alice Harkins. And myself and Cranachan, my publishers again, decided that because it wasn't a main character, it was better just to have their story alluded to rather than told entirely. And the main point that it was taken out, quite honestly, was because publishing can cost quite a lot of money. And to keep the book down to $6.99 cost, which is what we always try and do because we don't want to charge the world for a book, it can only be a certain length in pages. And unfortunately, Alice's part was the easiest thing to take out. Rather than have to rewrite an awful lot of the rest of the book, we just kind of lifted Alice's parts out and then just adjusted other little bits. That's the wonderful world of publishing, boys and girls. There's a little phrase which is called "kill your darlings." Now, that doesn't mean to kill everything that you love. It means that there might be bits and pieces in your book which are really, really nice, but you have to get rid of them sometimes. And that's something that I had to do in The God of All Small Boys. Hopefully, if, big if, I become massively famous and God of All Small Boys or Black Pennant or whatever suddenly decides that it's going to sell stupid amounts, I might be in a position to say, you know what, let's re-release The God of All Small Boys and we'll throw Alice's chapter back into it, which I would love because I really like it. I thought it was a nice wee bit of the book and it was a shame to be taken out, especially because she's one of the main female characters in the book and it just helped flesh her out a little bit. It wasn't just about the boys. But unfortunately, that's the way that went. It's a very long answer for being in a nutshell, wasn't it? Now, Megan, the lockdown bomb. That was cool. I didn't quite know how to classify that because it wasn't a haiku. It wasn't exactly a poem, but it was pretty cool. Whatever it was rather groovy. Beth, it's just great to hear you say that you're not really into reading, but that you read The God of All Small Boys twice. That really means an awful lot to me. I've had a few people, not just children, adults as well, who say that they don't really read, which kind of stabs me a little bit. But the fact that you say that you don't really like to read, but you've read The God of All Small Boys twice, that means an awful lot to me. Basically, all I would say is, because there's a lot of people who say that they don't like reading, what I say is that you may not like reading what you've read so far, you just haven't met the right book yet. Now, Zach, what can I say to Zach? He basically really liked The God of All Small Boys, so thank you very much, Zach, and I'm really glad you liked it. Olivia, it's Olivia. It's been more than a pleasure to send you guys and my other schools as well, Muckert and St Joseph's. It's been great for me sending you guys letters and postcards and recommendations and wee videos like this. I enjoy it, and I hope you guys do too. And I'm really glad that you liked Alice's story. Evan, thank you for your letter. I really like the Blood Brothers bit as well. It's because that actually happened with me and my friends. We did that. Nathan, I'm also glad that you enjoyed The God of All Small Boys. It is very good to hear that you are reading yourself, and thank you for your recommendation to me. I will look into it. I always look into any recommendations that I'm given from you boys and girls because it gives me an idea of what you like to read. And if I can find out what you like to read, it helps me in my writing. So there you go. Thank you very much. Where have we got to, Nathan? Now, I'm hoping it's Rafe. It could be Raf, but I'm hoping it's Rafe, R-A-F-E, who did the Pele haiku. Yeah, see. Yes, did I know about Pele? Oh, did. Pele was a legend even when I was your age. He seriously was. Whenever we played football, everybody was going, Bagsy Pele, Bagsy me Pele, and Pele. Because Pele was the legend that he is now. He was just a lot younger. Gregor, I'm glad you got the hang of lockdown and schoolwork. It's always a difficult thing, I'm sure. I have actually been working through it because I'm an essential worker. So yeah, that's fun, isn't it? I suppose it is really. I can't really complain. But I do, because I'm good at it. So next we have Harris, who, well, I'm really glad that you have been writing. Brothers can be annoying, can't they? I'm glad that you look forward to reading more of my books, so just keep an eye open next year, as I said. Black Pennant coming soon. Cameron, well done on continuing to read. I'm just wondering if you've been playing football yet. I would imagine you probably have. Rory, it's really good to see that you're reading some of the modern classics. There's not much more I can say to that. When you get a little bit older, start looking at Terry Pratchett's Discworld books. They're excellent. And well done on your burgeoning keyring business. Who have we got next? Fergus. Yes, Fergus asked a very important question. What is my favourite food? Fergus, I could go on for hours because I am a bit of a foodie, believe it or not. It's really a loaded question, but there's too much to name, to be honest. But let's put it this way. There used to be a restaurant in Dundee called the Deep Sea, and they did the best pie, chips and beans that you will ever have in your whole mouth. I love the Deep Sea restaurant. Unfortunately, it closed down, and there's a posh fish restaurant in its place, and I've never been in since it reopened because I'm not a posh eater, really. I'm a very simple eater. Yeah. What can I say? Now, Fergus also asked me, what do I do in my spare time and who is my favourite author? Now, I do most of my writing in my spare time, so that's really what I do in my spare time. And also reading, obviously. Now, when it comes to authors, it's very difficult for me to pick one because I like so many different types of story, but I have put up a little list here. Mainly, I own a lot of Stephen King, Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov, Ed McBain, Terry Pratchett, Stephen Donaldson, Piers Anthony, J.R.R. Martin, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Edward Lear, Lewis Carroll, and that's just off the top of my head, really. When I was writing down that list there, I just went ba 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 ba, and that's without even thinking about it. I also have an awful lot of books by all the Cranachan authors, and if I would name one of them, I'd have to name them all. So I'd rather not do that because I'll be here for ages just naming all the Cranachan authors, but they are all brilliant, and it's true. They're all brilliant. So check out the Cranachan publishing website, and you'll find out all the authors for Cranachan. All right, I can't name one because, or even two or three, because I would have to name them all because they're all really good. Willow. Now, I'm wondering if Willow was named after the character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who was one of my favourite characters, so I really hope that's the case. She gets a very special thanks, as do some of the others, because she actually went out and bought a copy of The God of All Small Boys, and I think one of the haikus is also hers. She mentions a haiku in her letter. I don't know which one it is, but thank you for buying the book, and thank you for the haiku. Lily mentioned a very important point, namely that she hopes she will be able to buy my next book. And I suppose this is as good a time as any to remind you, because I told you 20 minutes ago that my next book will be called The Black Pennant, and hopefully it will be out early next year. So thank you for bringing that up, Lily. And lastly, Logan, who is one of the letters, which is dated the 12th of June, my birthday, he brought up a very important point, which is, as I said, this will probably be the last thing that I do for all you groovy people, because you won't be at Luncarty Primary anymore. In fact, I think officially you probably aren't, because you'll be on holiday now. so you're not officially with Luncarty anymore, which is kind of strange. It's a shame that this whole lockdown thing happened when it did, because I was actually planning to make a wee surprise visit to the school, with your teacher knowing about it. Obviously, I wouldn't just show up at the school. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen now, which is a little bit sad. But all I can hope is that you have got as much out of this as I have, because I really did. I just loved doing these recommendations and sending you the postcards and the letters and things. All I can say is that there are so many books out there that I could still recommend to you. The Land of Far Beyond, for example, the Phantom Toll Booth, even the Secret Seven books, the Wombos books are really good. There's Spike Milligan's Silly Verse for Kids, Edward Lear's nonsense poetry, anything by Lewis Carroll, the Narnia Chronicles, which I'm sure I mentioned to you before, and every single one of Cranagan's books. Yeah, there's just so much. There is so much out there. And for those of you who keep saying, oh, I don't know whether I like reading or not, keep trying. There will be books out there that you will love. And when you find one, you'll soon find another. And to those of you who have told me that you've written, and some of you have let me see some samples of your writing, which is great, keep at it. As I told you before, you don't need anyone's permission to write. So please keep at it. Thank you very much for letting me be your book pen pal for this year. I've loved it dearly. Please keep it going as you go through secondary and as you progress through your lives. Thanks very much for taking the time to let me give you some of mine. See ya. Quick PS. You should probably talk to your secondary teachers and tell them that you know this wonderful author who will do school visits.